So Andy, we want to go into a bit more depth about your add-on products, and I see you've now got your iPad. Field service management seems to be one of your leading products. Can you tell me a little bit about what it's doing that Epicor struggles with, and how people can overcome it? Presumably, that is you just walk around with that, don't you?
Yes, it's a mobile device. It runs on Android and
Yep.
Apple.
Okay.
One of the main things is what we hear a lot of from field service customers, like we do when we're doing implementations, is we want to charge a mileage rate, but we might want to cap that mileage at maybe 100 miles, 200 miles.
Yeah.
We might want to charge travel time, but we might want to cap that travel time at maybe an hour or 2 hours.
Okay.
We might also have a minimum travel time. And it's the same with our labour rate. When you get on site, we might want to have an increment. So if you work for 31 minutes, you charge an hour. So you bill in 30-minute segments, or you might want to bill in 15-minute segments.
Right.
So we handle all of that inside of the app, and then post back to Epicor the actual time taken. Because obviously, if you're charging an hour for 31 minutes, you don't want to post an hour's labour because you're understating your profit. So we post 31 minutes labour and hour to the customer. We also allow the technicians to enter expenses and take photos of their expenses. They can take photos on site. They can issue the materials. They can add operations. They can update the location. They can add return travel, return mileage. All of that is done purely mobile, and it works offline. So if you're down a tunnel, or anywhere where there's no signal, since you get back online, it's brilliant. Send all that data back. And inside of Epicor, when you put your service call on, you can see your call history, which is something you can't do as standard.
Okay.
So yes.
Now, is this your product? Have you written this yourself?
We have written this, yes.
So that's fantastic. So, presumably you can add to it, and if customers want additional stuff, you can
Yes.
to that.
So in the back office suite where you create the service calls, when you do the scheduling, we've got a calendar, and you drag the jobs into the calendar, and you can drag them about. One of the customers said, that's great, but sometimes we just want to block out time for like servicing or pickups, or just block out some time for the customer. So recently we've just added in a functionality where you can right click on the calendar and just block out a period of time against a technician. And if you want to, that can also be shown on the tablet, because it could be, go and pick up Steve, pick up a 10-pound hammer on the way to site.
Yeah.
Another thing we're seeing, which customers have asked us for, is changing the customer on the serial number, because some of our customers have vehicles or products that might move around with the customer base. So once that product gets sold, they might need to update it. The last service call might have been on the previous customer. So what they want to do is build up a history of who's had that part number.
Yes.
And also update it, which is what we're currently implementing at the moment.
So that's great that it's your product, because it's not a product you're marketing for somebody else. And we feel the same thing by having the capability of changing, and you're getting engaged with customers. Customers actually are your best
Definitely, yes.
to tell you what to put in the product.
Yes.
And getting feedback, and also
Yes. What we say to the customers is, if you've got something you want, we will evaluate that, and if we think that's good for the product, it will get added to the roadmap. Because if you need it, we can sell it to you, and it'll enhance it for other customers.
Excellent. And so that's field service management. I know we've got some joint customers that are using that, and we're looking to help do some reporting over that, as we mentioned before. What about your other add-on products? What else do you have?
Well, the one we've just in the process of launching is shop floor data capture. Epicor has an MES platform, which is very good at what it does. The employee goes on and he logs in, and he finds his job, and he starts his setup, or he starts his production, and it records time. But we wanted to take that one step further. So what we do now is, against a resource group, we can set up a series of what I call TPM, total preventative maintenance tasks. So when they come and log into our tablet, which will be fixed to the machine or fixed to the workspace, it shows them their daily tasks to do, wipe down the covers, check the e-stops, check the slide-by oil, and then it presents them with a list of jobs. And they just press start. They can pause jobs. They can obviously stop jobs and report quantity. And coming from a manufacturing background, the way I've always worked is, since you logged on in the morning, you would be logged on to idle time.
Okay. Yes.
And when you started the job, it got logged off of idle time, and that way we could measure utilization better. So on the app, you can set up a default indirect code, which means as soon as the employee comes in and clocks in, he's logged onto an indirect code. And then when he starts production, it automatically logs him out of indirect and logs him onto production.
Right.
So as he finishes production, he's logged straight back onto indirect. And that way you get a much better idea of utilization.
Yeah.
Because once again, coming from the manufacturing background, a lot of people just talk about efficiency. But first of all, you want to look at utilization. So utilization, I suggest, should be around 82 to 85% to be clocked in time. Because there'll always be meetings and toilet breaks and breakdowns and looking for work and inspection. And then of that 82 to 85%, then you measure your efficiency on that number.
So is that a problem with standard Epicor then? You can't really do that with...
So the standard Epicor, with the way that MES works, you would need an MES license at every machine.
Okay.
Otherwise you have to clock off and or log off and log back on again as people finish jobs. When I used to work on the shop floor, there'd be quite a queue in the morning of people waiting to scan themselves in at the MES machine and scan onto their jobs.
Right.
So giving them the ability to do that at a machine level.
Yeah.
The extra bonus we get, that if that resource is a piece of equipment and you've got the maintenance module, on the app you can update the hour meter. So then overnight when the maintenance scheduler runs, it can generate the maintenance jobs. So that saves someone going into a separate screen and saying, oh, this is now on 100 hours or
Excellent.
or whatever.
So that's another... So you've got the field service management, you've got this app now, and what else do you have?
The next biggest one is probably our mobile inventory, and we know that Epicor
Oh, yeah.
has Biscuit, and we're not trying to compete with Biscuit at all. We're just doing something that's different. And quite interestingly, I've had a conversation this week with a customer, and he wants to do consolidated picking, but not for sales orders, for works orders. So this company makes cupboards.
Right.
And because they're kind of bespoke cupboards, they're all different sizes and have their own job, maybe ones and twos, but they all have the same hinges. And we spoke to them about backflushing materials. They wanted to get away from that because that caused them issues. And they said to us, if we go and pick one job, we'd like to see, these hinges, what are the next, how many do I need this week? And I can go and get 10 jobs worth, 20 jobs worth. And I've, adding that functionality in, that's quite a good idea. So we said, yeah, we'll add that in. So when you go to pick a job, you'll be able to see other jobs coming up where you need the same parts at the same resource and allow you to pick those. And then we just automate the job issue. So it's things like that where that comes into its own. The other thing that MIMS does, which makes life easier, is you can reprint labels. So at any point you could reprint a goods in label or customer shipment label or a part label. Because as we know, you print some labels off, you put them on the bench, they might fall on the floor and get run over by a forklift, and someone opens the door, they get blown in a puddle, someone puts them in their pocket and goes home. And reprinting labels is something that every customer asks, how do I reprint labels?
Right.
And so we let you do that directly from the handheld. And another factor, which is a good selling point for our product, is we have a screen where you can add and issue parts. So if you're doing a job and you want to add a new part, normally you'd have to go into the office, say, can you add part ABC 123? They'll add it in, then you can go out and pick it. But what you can do on MIMS is you can scan the job card, scan the part you want to pick, put in your quantity, hit save, it adds a part to the job.
And updates Epicor, yeah.
Updates Epicor and issues it straight away.
Fantastic. Because I would say from an accounting point of view that, the biggest area that people struggle with is stock.
Oh, definitely.
Stock reconciliation.
Yeah.
All sorts of errors can happen, and it affects your P&L massively if you get that wrong.
The biggest thing is to make it simple.
Yes.
There is no point having a complicated solution. And since we've been building apps, I'll get quite frustrated with other apps that I use that don't make it simple. Having worked on the shop floor a lot, I know if it's not simple, the guys won't do it and they'll find a workaround.
Yeah.
Which is why we generated simple stock take.
Yeah.
Once again, we're not trying to compete with cycle counting, we're just giving people another choice. Once you've done your stock take, you can look at your warehouse bins, and for each individual bin, you can see how many times it was counted, how many times that it was counted on time, how many times it was late, how many items were counted in there, how many were discrepant, how many were recounted, how many times it was skipped. And then for each warehouse bin, you can explode every single count and see how many times each one of those parts was counted. We also allow you to do Epicor's cycle counting allows you to set a limit of either percentage out or value out. And personally, I don't find that either fits. On value, you can have low value parts which are critical to your build, and they could all get written off if they can't be found, and then you can't build parts. And obviously high value, you don't want any of those going missing. So what we've done is we allow you to do a percentage up to a value. So you can say, oh, I'm quite happy to scrap 2% up to the value of £500 or £1,000, and it will let you go through and adjust that without needing a recount. So it's things like that, just to make it easier for the user.
Yeah.
Less button pushes. You can create a stock take on one screen with 4 or 5 clicks. Go away and start counting.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. So, yeah, you seem to have quite a lot of products. Have you got any on the horizon, something that you've been thinking of developing?
We've got one that we started and put on the back burner because we got really busy with field service.
Yes.
And this is one of the issues I see that Epicor needs to resolve. You spoke earlier, Nick, about things like Xero and QuickBooks, and the one I can't remember with a funny name.
Yes, yeah, Odoo.
Odoo.
It was something.
Every one of those has got a mobile app.
Yes.
And I can see directly, every one of those not only has a mobile app, but every one of those has an automatic bank feed.
Right. Yes.
So every morning you come in,
Yeah.
this is yesterday's transactions, go and match them.
Yeah.
And we started down that route of doing the bank feed, first of all, and we've signed up with a company, went through the checks, jumped through the flaming hoops, getting registered, and then we had to pause it. And that's something we want to do, because importing bank statements, let's be honest, that's quite old-fashioned.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's vital because, again, on an accounting point of view, your bank is this starting position.
Yes.
As an auditor, that was the first thing you did, the bank rec.
Yes.
And making sure that the cash is being counted properly. But that is sort of like a general app, really, isn't it? It's not sort of a manufacturing situation. It's
No.
very much more an accounting.
Yes. So one of the great things with Xero, which we use, is I could open the app and I could see money in the bank. I could see open sales orders. I could see open purchase orders.
Yeah.
I could see all that information. Now, Epicor has a CRM app, which is quite good.
Yes.
But it doesn't give you that top level.
Right.
And that's something we have toyed about.
So if you had a couple of customers that were interested, they could probably jointly help you develop that or fund it.
Yes.
So that would be good.